Okay, what to eat to give yourself the best possible chance of running a great race. Now, as humans, we are terrible. We always do what we've always known. And when I was a kid running track and field or cross country, the idea was always the old school thinking of you've got to eat porridge or oats 2 to 3 hours before your race, and that's going to give you the best possible chance of doing well. Sustained energy, your stomach is going to be settled, and you're going to feel good throughout the race. And of course, oats, especially if you mix it with milk, it takes a long time to digest, a long time to metabolize. And therefore, this is what I was doing just sort of 12, 13 years ago. I would have to wake up ridiculously early in the morning to eat porridge and then get towards the start line. And then as you see on the start line, everyone is, I need to go to the bathroom just before we start, especially if it's a marathon, especially if you're going far. There's always that anxiety of, I need to go to the bathroom before I run my race, which is, it's crazy thinking. So the way I reworked it is very simple, and it works really well for me, and it's this. I'm going to give you the context and how to implement it into your training and then also into your racing as well. So your typical week should look like, if you're running a structured training program at the moment, your typical week will be a bunch of easy runs and recovery runs, and a midweek interval session to run fast on a Wednesday, and a weekend long run to run far on a Sunday. Those are the perfect opportunities to practice with this ideal breakfast. So don't get to race day and say, oh, do you know what? I've kind of read somewhere on the internet or in Men's Health or in Runner's World or seen on YouTube what the best breakfast is, and therefore I'm going to do this. You've got to practice with it first. And the reason you've got to practice with it is because you want no surprises, especially for your stomach, but for your body and for yourself mentally, you want no surprises on race day. Everything you do on race day is going to be exactly the same, pretty much exactly the same as what you would do in your key sessions. In your interval session, running fast, and in your weekend long run, running far. The reason you train with it like that is so whatever you're putting in, whether that's gels, whether it's sports drink, and whether it's your breakfast, which I'll come on to in a minute, your stomach is used to running fast on the midweek interval session with those things in the stomach, and it's used to going far. And so you get to see the benefits. And so you get to see the portion size that suits you. You get to see how long in terms of minutes or hours it takes for you to have that breakfast and then start your run. And that's really important. And also not just to start the race, but to start your warm up. Now, if you're training for a marathon, and the further you go, the more important the breakfast becomes. But it's always important to keep it consistent and to get it right. Once you've got it right, you will not want to deviate from this breakfast that I'm about to tell you. The reason I changed to this breakfast is because the sleep is so important for me. Sleep the night before and the accumulated sleep is super important. The night before, I see people before races, oh, I'm never going to sleep tonight because I'm so excited for tomorrow. Once you get into the rhythm of you've done the hard work, which is the training schedule, tomorrow you've got the party. That's the race. You've done all the hard work. There's nothing else you can do. Everything else is out of your control. You've made the start line, and that's 90% of the job done. Tomorrow, you've just got to dig in and make it work. You've got to kind of reap the benefits or reap the rewards from all the training that you've done. So if you think of it like that, the anxiety goes away, but sleep is super important. So I don't want to be waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and having porridge, or 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. When I'm racing in Asia, sometimes the start times are 4 o'clock in the morning. So would that mean I'm waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning to have porridge and then wait for 3 hours for it to digest? It's not a good strategy. And so this is much better. What I have now is 5 bananas blended in my NutriBullet with water. 5 bananas blended in my NutriBullet with water. And I'll have that before my interval session and before my long run. And the reason it's great is for many reasons, but these are the main reasons. First of all, it very, very quickly metabolizes. So I could drink that, and it's obviously liquefied, so it's going in even faster than if you were to eat a banana. I can drink that 15 to 30 minutes before the run or my warm-up, and I'm completely fine. I don't feel it sloshing around. It's very easy to kind of get in, because you want your breakfast not only to kind of get in and settle your stomach, you want to be metabolizing that so you get in the nutrients and you're pushing energy to the muscles, and you've got sustained energy over a long period of time, whether you're running a 10K, a half marathon, a marathon, or an ultra marathon. You want the energy, and that's the key to this, yeah? But you also want your stomach to feel good. So I can get up much later and not have any anxiety, know that I've had this banana, 5 bananas, blended in water 1,000 times. There's no surprises for me. I just have it. There's loads of potassium in there, so that prevents or stops as much as possible muscle cramps and helps muscle function. And there's 100 calories per banana. So that's 500 calories in a 5-banana, like essentially smoothie in a water. And it's 25 grams of carbohydrates. That's 125 grams of carbohydrate just in that quick smoothie. It's very easy to get down. It's easy to find bananas anywhere in the world as well. So whether you're in Asia, you're in the Middle East, you're in Europe, you're in America, there should be bananas around for you. Like wherever you are in the world, it's very difficult not to find bananas. So that's always there. And you've got to think like this, because if you've been training a certain way for 3 months and you've been hitting the interval sessions, hitting the long run, a lot of people can get to a marathon. I've seen this happen whether people have been traveling to Barcelona or they've been traveling to the New York Marathon or wherever it is a strange place for them or unfamiliar, and they've not had access to their special breakfast. Of course, if you've got used to a certain breakfast, then maybe that is porridge and that works for you. But it's definitely not as convenient as bananas. But if that is what you've got to and what you're currently kind of trained towards, and you've got a couple of weeks until your next race, then make sure you take the porridge with you. Because if you're used to a certain fast cooking oats and you can't find them in New York, all of a sudden these sorts of things are what start to play tricks on our brains. And we don't want any sort of mental games with ourselves before we want to run fast. And as I said, reap the reward of running, of investing all that time and energy into your training. You don't want to mess it up the night before or the day before or the morning before by doing the wrong thing. Keep everything consistent. But working towards the banana smoothie as your go-to breakfast is going to help you to get up later so you can sleep more. You don't have to be super anxious at 8 o'clock at night. Oh, am I going to sleep tonight? I've got to get a train from where I'm staying in London all the way to London start, and then I've got to take my drop bag, etc. You literally can have it. I have it an hour before the race time, so that gives me 10 to 12 to 15 minutes of warming up before a marathon or an ultra marathon. So it's 45 minutes after I've taken the smoothie or the 5-banana in water. And it's really easy. It goes in, it's great energy. I know it's going to stop me having muscle cramps, and it's a really good go-to for potassium. And it's just wherever you are in the world, it's there for you. So keep it simple. And wherever you possibly can, people try to overcomplicate running. And if anybody does try to overcomplicate running, it's usually because they're trying to sell you something. So don't fall short of that. I get that there's an element where you've got to spend a certain amount of money towards the kit, a certain amount of money traveling to fly into a race or getting to a race, hotels, etc., etc. Running can be a really cheap and easy sport. It's very simple. It's very simple to find the information that you need. But you've got to put that breakfast, if it's going to be a new strategy for you, you've got to put that into your training plan. And if you're currently doing intervals first thing in the morning on a Wednesday, you've got to make sure that 45 minutes before, an hour before, and try that around. At first, it maybe won't metabolize as quick, so get used to it. And then once the stomach is used to metabolizing it, it'll be a quicker turnaround for you. But give yourself initially 1 hour to 45 minutes to have that 5 bananas in a smoothie, and maybe start with 2 or 3 bananas blended, and then see how that works for you, and then see how that works on the long run as well. I promise you, it's like, so many people who have taken this advice from me, whether it's in Spain, in the UK, and it's really worked for them. And it saves you having to wait for that stodginess of porridge or oats to digest, to metabolize, and you don't want to be feeling heavy on the start line. It's incredible how many people kind of carb deplete and then carb load and turn up essentially like a boxer or a UFC fighter on the start line, and they're 2-3 kilograms heavier because they've taken advantage of this carb loading. Well, it's a completely other video, but realize that if you've trained well for 3 months and if you've nailed the training, just be confident and have confidence that you've done everything you possibly can. Nothing changes. You have the breakfast that you've been going towards, and you get used to having that banana smoothie as a starter. I take my blender to races. It's really easy. Usually hotels have blenders. I usually stay where there's a kitchen so I can have something I know the night before, and then go for it. If you got anything from this, and if you're getting anything from these videos, please like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell.